Question: what have you personally learned from the recent pandemic? How can the world be better prepared for similar situations? What should India do to be better prepared? See, as I told you, there is no right or wrong answer. Most of you would have almost written similar points. Only thing is, have you arranged it properly and custom? There is nothing more to it. Correct? For example, what's the first part? What have you personally learned from COVID on that? What is that? It is very subjective. Okay. What I have learned is COVID was the best time to get married so that, you are able to save a lot of expenditure. That is what many people did. Correct? And no, most of them did not even invite me to the wedding. So they got married around saying that whatever, and they did not have to invite many people, saved a lot of expenditure. That was the best time. Okay, that was my personal understanding and learning. I don't know what you have learned. Tell me what have you learned out of pandemic. Family is more important. Correct? You can work from home. Okay, that is jokes apart. Fine. Uh-huh. Correct. The divorces have actually increased during. No, it is not wrong. It is correct. So all of a sudden they realize that they are not able to live together inside the same house for a long duration. So when they were apart, set apart, they were fine. When they were brought together, they suddenly realized that they are no longer able to live together. Correct. What else? So one thing is with respect to working conditions have changed. So it is better to move on to a hybrid model. Okay. So all of a sudden we have realized that it is not always necessary to travel to your workplace. It is also possible to work from home. So people have an option now. People have an option. So now they are able to cater to home needs as well. We are able to reduce traffic congestion as well. And we can have a distributed model of workspace. Correct? What else have you learned? Sorry, education system. It has led to what do you say, a growth spurt of digital and online education, but it may not always be the best model. So kids have been the most affected, one of the most affected. Then personal hygiene. Okay, all of a sudden there has been an increased awareness about personal hygiene. Anything else? Anybody? Personal. Hmm. Correct. Then, okay. So here, I want you to go back and I want you to read about this. So now we have come out with a new concept, or it could have been an old concept with an what do you say, increased awareness about One Health. That is, so this is what we have learned now. This is One Health here. This is One Health. So here you have human health. Here we have animal health. Here we have environmental health. Only when everybody is working in tandem can we achieve good health. Okay, so you can read about this whenever you have an answer. Draw this Venn diagram, put it across as One Health, human health, animal health, environmental health. Draw this Venn diagram. Okay, I want you to read about One Health. I also want you to read about the National Immunization Program, Indradhanush program, immunization. Okay, I also want you to read about immunization. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you would have written something about personal learning. Any other important point you have? Curtail socialization, leading to mental disturbance. Health is more important. Okay, so all these things you would have learned. So personal learning, you can write. It is very subjective. Okay, then what is it? Now coming over to how can the world be better prepared? It is not, there's nothing much that you can write with respect to that. With respect to India being prepared and world being prepared, it is almost on the same lines or in that same dimension. So what can you write? You need a better monitoring system or better surveillance system. Correct. So there has to be pre-negotiation. There has to be pre-negotiation with respect to sharing of data and information, also sharing of vaccines. So we need a robust intellectual property rights system where there is sharing model between developed nations and developing nations. So there needs to be a sharing model. Say something like our Vaccine My 3 program where we have distributed vaccines to developing countries. Correct? What else? Hmm. Correct. So what we need to do is we need to strengthen WHO. We need to strengthen WHO, give it more powers, give it more funding. So one problem with WHO is it does not have enough funding to carry out its research. It does not have enough funding to carry out its, to implement its programs. So provide for more funding of WHO, strengthen WHO, correct? We can also talk about forest conservation at the global level, forest conservation, animal conservation. You can talk about, you have different conventions like CITES, which talk about, what is it? Species, wildlife trade, which talks about wildlife trade to prevent wildlife trade. Therefore, many countries have to come together to prevent wildlife trade. This is what is leading to many of these pandemics. So this is at the global level. Similarly, what about India? You can talk about healthcare. Correct? You can talk about healthcare. You can talk about improving primary, secondary, and tertiary healthcare. We can talk about food security. We can talk about job security. We can talk about making healthcare more affordable, accessible, available. Then what else? Okay. What else? Okay, maybe you may talk about digital divide as well. Okay, one thing that you have to mention is that we do not have a specific policy to deal with pandemic. So now is the best time to learn from our mistakes and develop a policy which can be used in case we have another epidemic or pandemic. Okay, so we have to learn from our mistakes. We have to build on these new learnings and experiences, develop a new policy specifically to deal with pandemic. Okay, the other thing that we have seen during this COVID pandemic is disruption of supply chain. So supply chain management is also another new thing that we have to address during these pandemics. Then what can we do? We can talk about research and development, funding with respect to diseases, zoonotic diseases, microbes. We need better coordination between center and state, state and state. So on along these different lines, you should be able to write. I'm pretty sure you'd have written something like this itself. Correct? Okay. Anything unique you may wish to add? Any new point you have? No? Okay, then. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.